All right, welcome back to the Live Zone Primetime. I don't know if I accidentally didn't roll a break there, so if you're watching on Fox Local, I have no idea. Maybe you got a break, maybe you didn't, maybe you just watched the Capitol Wheel for a little bit.
Yeah.
But we're back.
And watch
we're back.
the,
It's a Friday
and,
night.
and watch
There's gremlins in the
this
system.
watch
Who
this
knows?
chit-chatting, you know?
Yeah, listen, Tony P, as you know, is a huge fan of talk shows. He wants
Yes.
to host one
Yes.
himself someday. So
Thank you for being open
when
about
the
my ambitions.
When the opportunity came up for us to talk to a late night talk show legend, of course, we had to do it, A.
Yes.
And B, sometimes when things aren't, when our interviews aren't live, it's either one of us or it's the other. But this was one that we made sure we made time for both of us to be involved in.
Thanks to this man right here.
Here's the deal, though. It's not just one late night legend who's hitting the road for this comedy tour. It is two. We're talking about Jay Leno and Arsenio Hall teaming up. They're coming to the region. They're going to be at Hollywood Casino in Charlestown, West Virginia later this month. First, though, Tony and I got a chance to talk to Jay all about The Tonight Show, his time on the show, the changing nature of late night television, how it's evolving, his wife's Alzheimer's diagnosis, and much, much more. So I want you guys to take a look. This is a longer package than we sometimes do, but when you get a chance to talk to Jay Leno and he gives you the time, you take it.
Oh, he sure did.
That's right. Take a look.
For fans of classic late night TV, Jay, this is a real treat. And it's a real blast from the past because it's you and Arsenio Hall live at Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races. First and foremost, how did this idea come about, the two of you go on the road together?
Arsenio and I have been friends for a long time. I'm the one that brought him out to California. I met him in Chicago. I said, you should be in LA. I gave him my phone number. He said, call me when you get to town. Because I was a little further along. I'm older than him, and I was a little further along in showbiz than he was. So when he came out, I kind of showed him places to play and got the road. Then we got to be friends. And then we got on competing networks, So then it becomes, like there's a battle going on. And, it was actually pretty funny. Because, remember he said he's going to kick my butt and all this kind of stuff. And, it makes headlines. So my job as a comedian is to watch every other show so I don't repeat myself or say something that somebody else has said, right? So I watched Arsenio's opening show. And it was good. He had Brooke Shields and a bunch of other people. And then he said, now this show is going to be about the music, about the funk. You're not going to see Barry Manilow's ass on this show. Yeah, they all applauded. Okay, a couple of months go by. I'm watching Arsenio as I watch Dennis Miller and Letterman and everybody else too. And I see Arsenio go, next week, Barry Manilow will join us. I went, ooh. So next day I call and I go, hi, it's Jay Leno, can I speak to him? He don't want to speak to you. No, he needs to speak to me. This is important. No. And then I hear in the back, who is that? Is that Leno? So what's he calling me here? What does he want? I said, put him on the phone. What do you want, Leno? What do you want? And I went, next week, Barry Manilow will be on the and he fell down laughing because he knew how sick. Because, when you do a late night talk show, you need every guest. There's not, you need 3 or 4 people a night, 5 nights a week. And you have to take people who might not be a fan of, or you might not like their music, but you have to give everybody a shot, So from that point on, we were good friends. And he always had a sense of humor about it. But, he was like real mad and he'd sit like this, and it was very funny, very funny.
So when you guys are out on the road together nowadays, how has your relationship evolved? And do you guys get a chance to catch up? Do you guys get a chance to hit the stage together?
Well, we do. Yeah, that's what we do. I mean, we go to, obviously we're not staying in the same hotel room, but we'll stay in the same hotel. And we have lunch or dinner together, talk about the show. And, we watch each other and say, hey, you ever think of trying this on that bit? And I go, you ever try this? Oh, that's a good idea. So we always enjoy talking comedy. I always like talking with Seinfeld or Letterman because I always come away with something and hopefully they come away with something they can use. You're just talking, you ad-libs. Oh, can I have that? Yeah, you can have that. Can I have that thing? Yeah, okay. And it's fun.
When you're doing a show like this with Arsenio and you're so close and building this out, how does it impact the writing of the jokes you're delivering, the different setups, and maybe Arsenio's doing it in a certain way? How does it impact that, or is it kind of more separate?
Well, we're not doing the same. It's a different act. I mean, yeah, I know. It's totally different. It's have a subject that's similar. Well, how important is it to you? All right, I'll drop mine. Okay, yeah, or vice versa. So yeah, it's not. show business isn't difficult. People just make it difficult. It really is. It's like the easiest gig in the world. People buy a ticket, they come, they want to see, how do you screw that up? Well, you screw it up by just being a jerk. I remember when on the Tonight Show, we'd have people, we had one, the hotel was like over there,
Yeah.
half a mile. So, well, we got to have a white limo to pull up in. Well, first of all, you don't really pull up to the thing. You pull around back and you go through the stage entrance, and it's not like there's paparazzi there. So no one's going to see the white limo. Well, it's got to be a white limo. Well, why don't we just cancel your appearance? Okay, we don't have a white limo to take you a quarter mile. You have these ridiculous arguments with agents or managers that think their client is, bigger than they are, and it's actually pretty funny. Yeah.
I can only imagine the list of celebrities you could possibly the name who were divas like that. But let me ask you a question. You're a workhorse. It's been a couple years now. Do you miss that 5-night-a-week grind? Not only the stand-up monologue that you had to do, but the constant interviews, the constantly keeping up to date with what's going on, what these people are working on.
I actually enjoy, to me, the killer one would be do one show a week, because every other day I would think, okay, I didn't work hard enough today. Why am I going to bed at 1 a.m? Should be going to bed at 3 a.m. When you have a show to do every day, it's like, you're right. All right, pencils down. We got to go, Jay. We got to go. What you have? We're taping in 20 minutes. You got to go. All right, let's make the best of what we got. And it's like raising laboratory mice. Sometimes you have a healthy batch. Sometimes you have a batch that dies. But if you stop and just commiserate over last night's show, well, you have another show tonight, and maybe that one went good, so you forgot about you. I actually preferred the grind of bang, 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 just because you had to do it right now. It's like you got to get a newspaper out. If this story isn't 100% correct, that's okay. Just get out the pertinent fact. And the same thing with doing the show. So I actually preferred that to doing one show a week. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So one of the things that's been talked about is the future of late night, future of talk shows, with the influencer movement and all these creators doing online shows now where it's saturated almost, and attention spans are all based on your own algorithm. Do you think that talk shows can survive like late night in this era, or will they have to adapt?
The thing that talk shows had nothing to do with the talent. I mean, the guys doing the shows now are just as funny as us or Letterman or Arsenio. I mean, the thing that killed, they passed a law, I think maybe, or a TV rule, not a law.
Yeah.
Maybe 15, 18 years ago, that after 11:30 at night, you could run an extra 6 minutes of commercials in an hour. So instead of having an hour show, you had like a 40-minute show by the time you're down to it. I mean, if I see Jake from State Farm again, I'm going to shoot myself in the head. When I try to watch any late night show, it's the same. And this thing about aspirin and aches and pain. And then I realize I can go over here to a podcast and hear the same celebrity talk uncensored, unfiltered for 30 or 40 minutes. Oh, and be interested in the conversation as opposed to the sort of scripted thing. Tell us about your new movie, and then, well, thanks for joining us tonight. Let me get our next guest out here, So I think the format is kind of run its course. I think you'll always have to talk in some form because humans like to communicate. I mean, that's pretty common. But you watch like a Joe Rogan or one of those kind of things, and that's the new late night talk show. And the thing is, in the old days, you had to watch it late at night. Now you can watch it whenever you want. So why would you don't have to set your alarm clock for 11:30 in case I fall asleep so I could see Letterman or me or whoever it is, Yeah, it's a whole different world. So the talk will continue to exist. People love to gossip and make jokes. It's just how you deliver it to the public that will change. Yeah.
But Jay, do you think that the format has gotten a little too political? I mean, even somebody like Joe Rogan obviously comes in with slightly an agenda, and as a result, people can kind of choose which direction they want to watch, who they want to watch, who they think reinforces their own beliefs.
Since I announced I'm taking politics out of my act, ticket sales are up 20 or 30%. Because people, they want to go see a comedy. Rodney Dangerfield and I were good friends. I love Rodney. I knew Rodney 40 years. I have no idea if he's a Democrat or Republican. It never came up. We just discussed jokes. Hey, Rodney, this funny? Jay, oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what it was. So, yeah. What was the question again? I'm not sure what the question was.
Basically, whether politics have kind of influenced the,
Yeah,
you know,
that's the thing. You're not, if you go out there and you want to talk about your politics, you're not going to change anybody's mind. Everybody's mind is already made up. Trump people are Trump people, Biden or Biden, whatever. Like when I play almost anywhere, I assume a third of the audience is going to be Trump people. So if I hit him especially hard, boo, yeah, now they're disrupted. Now you're thrown off the, as opposed to have everyone enjoying the show together. Now you've pitted one side against the other, so it makes it a little tricky. Yeah.
When you look at kind of like with comedy, and I think in this era, but my generation, it's all social media driven, where you have people doing crowd work and they're putting clips up and it's getting millions of views. Do you think comedy today allows for more observations and more opportunity to kind of refine that work? Or do you think there's more caution now with social media? Everything's being recorded. You might be recorded legally inside a facility.
Well, here's the thing. The people that cross the line, here's the thing, funny beats everything. Okay. I mean, I think of, what's his name? I just went out of my mind. A very funny comedian, the guy with the beer commercial, remember?
Shane Gillis.
Shane. Okay.
Yeah, she's great.
He's a guy generally really funny. Now, I used to do, I don't know if this is a good analogy. Patrick Henry said, "Give me liberty or give me death." And people go, "Oh, boy, that's give me liberty, give me death." I post the next guy, "Hey, I don't care if you hang me." And yeah, it's all how you say it. And if you're funny, Nikki Glazer. Now, Nikki Glazer, you've ever seen her, she's filthy sometimes, but really, really funny with really good jokes. So you go, that's a little over the top, but I'm sorry, it's funny. And those are two good comics. And if they happen to cross the line once in a while, they either fall by the wayside if it's not good enough, or they go to new heights, which both of them have done. I mean, Shane Gillis, it looks like he was hitting rock bottom when he got canned from Saturday Night Live, and that was the end of it. But he's a funny guy, and he worked hard, and he got it back by being funny and a little bit edgy. And I think when people watch him, they sense it's kind of tongue-in-cheek. He's not really serious. You're not really condoning racism. You're just showing like the stupidity of your redneck character or whatever it might be. I don't always assume. But comedy has not really changed that much. The basic tenets are the same. If I asked you to watch a Rudolph Valentino romantic movie from the 20s, you'd hang yourself. It's so boring and slow and laborious. But if you watched Buster Keaton, Chaplin, Laurel and Hardy, I think you'd laugh. I'm sure you would laugh as much as the people did then. Because, the big fat rich guy falling in the mud puddle in a tuxedo is always going to get a laugh. I'm sorry. It just is, And it's the same thing with comedy. If it's funny, all rules are null and void. Shane has proven that, and so has Nikki. Yeah.
So, Jay, you not only hit the road for comedy, obviously, we can see right behind you your collection of classic cars. What are you working on right now? Do you get out on the road as much as you'd like?
Well, I do about 200 dates a year. So, yeah, I'm out on the road a lot. Yeah, I mean, I like being me because I get car guys coming up to me all the time. That's the fun part. I remember when I had Clooney, I had Judge Clooney on the Tonight Show right after he got ER, and he was a huge star. And people come up and go, "George, could you take a look at this scar?" And he goes, "I'm not really a doctor." I know you're not a doctor, but you know about medicine." "No, I don't know about medicine." "Well, could you just look at it?" "No, I'm not going to look at your scar because I know nothing about, and you drive you crazy. To me, when people come up to me and they want to talk to me, I actually enjoy it because, "Oh, you got a 63 Falcon." "Yes, so do I." You got the 60. "Oh, you got the 260 V." Okay. Now I'm having a pleasant conversation about a subject I'm generally interested in. It's only bad when you have to phony it up, when you pretend to be something you're not. That's when it doesn't work. And that's when show business becomes awful,
For someone who might be new into cars, someone who's trying to figure out to build a collection, just understand them, what would be a great starter car for them to learn about or potentially collect that's not terribly expensive? Again, it's all being expensive, but like what's a good starter for that to get into the antique car business?
To me, a great car is a Miata. You get a secondhand Miata, you get a two-seater sports car with a stick shift, and it's a real sports car. It's based on the Lotus. The Lotus was one of the greatest sports cars of all time. And they dropped the ball. They let the Japanese run away with it and build a sport car that was reliable and oil tight and fun to drive. And, you know, I see in Hollywood huge celebrities and regular people driving Miatas because they're fun. It's a fun little sports car. I mean, that's really what it is. But whatever catches your fancy, you know, I mean, plenty of young guys, all of a sudden they're like big giant cars from the 60s because they find it funny. It's like you're driving a toboggan or something. It's enormous, you know, cat or whatever it might be. So whatever you like is fine. There's really no what's the best. If you're looking at it as a way to make money, it's a huge mistake. If you do it because you enjoy it, well, that's something else.
Yeah.
Dude, you still ride motorcycles? Because I'm trying to convince Tony P. I have just like a Honda Rebel, but I know maybe we can convince him to get like a Vincent Black Shadow or something.
Black Shadow be a fine motorcycle. The Honda Rebel is well, yeah. That's we. So I guess you're a rebel.
City riding. Keep in mind, city riding.
He's a rebel, and he'll never be. Yeah, that's.
Well, the biggest thing, I'm a little bit afraid because I'm not that coordinated. That's the problem. Like it's like I can barely drive.
Then you probably shouldn't ride. It depends why you want to ride it. You know, I had a famous person once said to me, "Hey, what's the best car to get girls?" I go, you know, I don't get girls. I got my girl 46 years ago. Okay, so I'm a little out of that. I don't know what to tell you. He goes, no, really, I don't know. I don't know what car is going to get girls. Oh, okay, if you ask me what's the fastest, what's the most fun to drive, I can give you an answer. I can't tell you which one's going to get girls because if I did get girls, then I would lose the car and I wouldn't have it anymore. So there you go.
What's really fascinating to me is the whole like how people love to collect them, but at the same time, it is kind of a status symbol for a lot of people as they build out cars. I'm going to get the big thing and just drive around in it. Like, do you feel that when you're working on cars, do you feel that it allows you to slow down and just kind of process life and be?
No, it makes you realize how valuable work is and how, a very famous actor during a commercial break said to me, "Hey, what's a good car to get?" And I said to him, because I knew he was really famous, "This new Ferrari is unbelievable. It's really good." And he said to me, "You know, everybody's got a Ferrari." I said, "Okay, no, first of all, everybody does not have a Ferrari. And if you repeat that sentence, you'll be taken out in the street and you'll be beaten by the villagers, okay? Think of what you just said. Most people have never even seen a Ferrari, let alone driven one or sat in one. And for you to say, oh, everybody, because everybody you know has a Ferrari. Get new friends, okay? Because you got too many rich friends. Try to get some regular people as friends." Yeah, it was just one of those out of touch sentences. It just made me laugh.
Yeah, you mentioned the girl that has been a part of your life for over 4 decades. You know, you always be a part of the Fox family. So from our family to yours, obviously, we're sending all of our thoughts and well wishes. How is Mavis doing?
Good. It's okay. You look, Alzheimer's it's not fun, but it's not cancer. It's not a tumor. And, you have to find the humor, because of Alzheimer's. I try to watch TV shows where they're episodic, meaning 40 minutes, not 5-part miniseries where you can't remember, did we see the first one? So I'm looking for shows like this. And my wife is very much involved with women's rights issues and things. So we're watching Hawaii Five-0 from the 60s. And of course, McGarrett, every woman, honey, sweetie, come here. What did the perpetrator look like? All right, sweetie, sit down. So we'll watch this one episode where Stanley Holloway, the old actor, plays a genetic scientist who gets kidnapped by the Red Chinese. Hilarious. So McGarrett goes to see his daughter, who's 40. And he says to her, "What kind of genetic engineering did your father do?" And she says, "Well, I'm just a woman. I don't understand such things." And I hear my wife, "F this, F that." And she just screaming at the TV, yelling at it. It was like the funniest thing. She might be a little out of it with the Alzheimer's, but she was sharp enough to know, just
That
tell me.
was BS.
Yeah, it just I really laughed out loud. She's just yelling at the TV, because I'm just a woman. I don't understand. Can you imagine having a line in a script in this day and age? Hilarious.
Right. And what's really incredibly, noble, and my mother's going through this as well, taking care of a parent, and loves your journey and is very inspired by it. One of the things that she mentions to me is it's a lot of quiet moments of care and of really being persistent. What has this part of your life taught you about commitment, devotion, and just really leaning into patience in those quieter moments?
Well, a lot of us have been very fortunate. I was not called in the military service. My brother was.
Mm,
I did not lose a limb. I never had to make a lot of decisions. Do I risk my life to save that person? I've been very fortunate. And it, it's a test. You have these marriage vows, you honor, obey, you promise to take care of the person. All right, you either live up to it or you don't. I mean, another famous person said the funniest thing to me. He said, well, now that Mavis has got this, you going to get a girlfriend? I said, I got a girlfriend. I'm not, you mean I'm going to say to my wife, honey, I have to go with my girlfriend now to have sex. Okay. I said, when you're in it, you're in it. And when you're out of it, you're kind of out of it. Okay. All right. Right now, I'm on hold. Okay, you see, that's not to say things, but right now, it just made me laugh. That's
mm,
like the most Hollywood selfish thing you could say. Well, gee, my wife is sick, but I have certain needs. How can I gotta get it.
mm.
It just made me laugh. It's just very funny.
That's
That makes
that
sense.
is Hollywood in a nutshell. I definitely could sense that.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't that the most Hollywood thing you could possibly
It
imagine?
is. It is.
And
If it's
we live in a
yeah.
world now where doing what you're expected to do suddenly gets you such kudos from people. No, that
Yes.
that's what you're supposed to do. I mean, the fact that you don't have a girlfriend, well, yeah, you're not supposed to when your wife is sick. You're not supposed to have a girlfriend.
Right. It's like
Well,
it's LA's again. I sense that because I'm also from the Merrimack Valley, by the way. So I'm from the
Oh, is that
Philippines.
right?
Yeah. So I hail from a couple towns over from Andover, and like we're not taught that, and you probably know
What
this too.
town?
Like,
What town?
well, Haverhill, Methuen. My parents were divorced.
Oh, Haverhill, near the skating rink.
My stepdad now is like the biggest thing is like the values thing. Like we were taught values in the projects in Lawrence all those years ago. We were
Right,
taught like to be committed versus the BS.
right.
Of
Yeah,
just like Hollywood kind of feels a little bit out there. Not to be rude to them, but
you can be rude. That's fine.
it kind of feels a little bit out there, you
It
know?
just makes you laugh. That's why I've been very fortunate. I managed to, with the Tonight Show, I could be in and amongst show business without being immersed in it. I could,
Wow.
you know, I love Charlie Sheen as a guest. He's a friend of mine. I don't want to be Charlie Sheen. I don't want to live Charlie's life, but I'm amused by Charlie and he makes
Yeah.
me laugh. He makes such terrible choices in life. It just makes me, my favorite Charlie Sheen joke was Charlie went through $200 million. He spent it on women, gambling, and drugs. And the rest of the money he just wasted. It's just one of my favorite jokes. It's just one of my favorite. It's just such a stupid joke. And that's a good example. I look at Charlie and I go, I'm amused by it. I'm so glad I'm not in that. I'm not involved in
Yeah.
that. Yeah. You watch these lessons go around you, and you go, okay, just you're fortunate enough to make money in show business. I can afford. The people that get my just heartfelt whatever. Teachers, nurses, policemen who have someone with Alzheimer's. I mean, when I'm not with Mavis, I can afford to have somebody stay with her so I can keep her at home with me. I mean, I go home every night and I make dinner for her and we do all that kind of stuff together, but there are times when I have to go to work but most people don't have that, and their lives are especially so when people come up to me and they want to pat me on the back, well, I mean, thank you. I guess I appreciate it, but I mean, you probably know somebody that has it a lot worse than I do, so I'm doing okay. But I appreciate the sentiment.
No, of course.
And obviously, people don't need to go all the way out to Hollywood to see you. They can go to Hollywood Casino at Charlestown
I'll
Races
see you there
and
with me
check
on
out you.
camera. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll send Tony P out there. He can't wait.
Listen, I like Charlestown, West Virginia. It's actually not too bad for a driving distance.
Oh yeah, good. I'll see you there.
I can't wait. Quick final thing. Quick, like, do you think like when playing with audiences like this, playing in front of audiences in West Virginia, really like, people that really assaulted the earth people, how does that impact your connection with the audience like that versus playing in maybe East Coast, things of that nature?
That's more my audience than when you do East Coast and West Coast. There's a certain thing we live in an era now. Everybody has a computer. Everybody has access to the same information. So the idea is that some guy in bib overalls and a piece of straw doesn't understand what you're talking about. That doesn't really happen anymore. But what does happen is you find certain parts of the country have more of a base. And by that, I mean, you don't make fun of people in military service, no matter how silly they behave or what, you just sort of, or if you do, you try to, like my personal thing, when I leave the United States, I don't make fun of the president, regardless of who it is. If I'm here, my attitude is I can make fun of my brother. You can't make fun of my brother. So when I go outside the United States, I don't want to perform in Saudi Arabia and do Trump jokes because I feel like it's not, I feel like I'm talking against my country. I know that sounds odd, but it's just the way it strikes me. And when you play places like West Virginia, people understand that. They understand that when you see a veteran in the audience and you ask them to stand, people applaud, and they like that. You go to cynical places, Hollywood, sometimes other places, and that's not. It's not that it's frowned upon. It's just maybe it's seen as it's hokey or something. But to me, I like to do it because I see when you get those older guys stand up and they're coming to a show and they got their hat that says Vietnam '68. They get an applause. These guys didn't get it the first time around. They got spit on. They get you do baby killer. Whatever it might have been. So any get a chance to. My brother is one of those guys. So. It makes me feel good. So that's sort of the difference. But other than that, it's pretty much the same.
And just a reminder, you can catch Jay and Arsenio at Hollywood Casino in Charlestown, West Virginia, March 28th. Tickets are on sale now.
That's going to be a great show. And it's only an hour and 8 minutes from this studio, Chris. I think I might have to go.
I think you should definitely
maybe
go.
stay at the hotel. Be kind of perfect.
There you go.
Right there. Maybe
hang out with
get some
Jay
slots.
And Arsenio. Exactly.
That'd be cool content. Jay and I collaborate on a slots post.
And you can, and if that happens and you guys are hanging out, you need to turn to him and you got to say, I was hanging out with this celebrity, this big name celebrity. Jay, dropping names like it's
I love it. Rodney
business.
Dangerfield, like that is the best. And again,
one.
he's also, of course, from 2 towns over from me in Massachusetts. So really
local
cool.
legend for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, let's keep the entertainment vibe going.